Right, my job is done in Vienna. Took about 5 hours, I think. Got here, when did I get here? 12:30 I got here, now it's 6:30, so I've been here 6 hours in that lovely hotel. And that was all very nice. Certainly I didn't leave much cash there. I think I dropped them €5 for a coffee and dropped them another 10 for the valet parking, which is not much in a city centre. I didn't have to give them anything, but I kind of like when you're going there and you're representing an organisation, you don't want to look like a skompy człowiek, as they say. So you've just got to sometimes give tips, just even to look good. Although I also give tips because I think I believe in it. I don't believe in over spoiling people necessarily, but also at least giving them a fair share of life. It says, "Thou shalt not muzzle the ox as it treadeth the corn," which I understand means that you get someone to work for you, you shouldn't expect them to do it for nothing. It'd be nice if people thought the same about me, of course, but then the Christian life isn't always about only doing things for others if you can get the same thing back. If I did that, then of course I wouldn't always be giving tips, because nobody gives me much by way of that, I assure you. In fact, it's even difficult for auditors to accept anything like that. But in my case, what they can do is they can do things like give a cup of coffee. After all, a client isn't obliged to give you a cup of coffee. In fact, I've been at clients where very, very few, I hasten to add, because it's kind of like accepted practice to at least if someone comes to your office to offer them a coffee. I was a client the other day, sat there for 6 hours and only got one drink, one cup of coffee. I think that's a bit bad. I would really not like it if I knew that in my organisation guests had come and sat in the office for 6 hours and had received one drink and hadn't received an offer of any kind of other forms of refreshment, such as being taken down to the canteen at least as a very minimum, or sandwiches brought in as a very minimum over a 6-hour period. I think it's really not so fantastic. There are certain standards of behaviour which, if people adhere to them, it shouldn't be considered like in Polish they have the term korupcjogenne, which is corruption generic, or something that could generate corruption, or be considered, in any way corrupting influence to accept somebody's. I mean, if you're accepting like money of some people that you were auditing, absolutely not, absolutely out of the question. Like cash, or even anything that's out of order, out of the usual order of things, you shouldn't do it, but mustn't do it. But a cup of coffee or even a meal, which you could just as easily say, well, I'll be the one doing it next time. I think it's good when you've got clients, if you're an auditor or anybody else, for that matter, lawyer, auditor, whatever, that you shouldn't always be on the receiving end of the client's hospitality. You should sometimes be, a fair share of the time you should be offering the hospitality. But certainly, if you're at a person's office, as auditors are, it seems to me that it goes without saying that you'd give a person coffee. If I don't get one, then usually I ask where the coffee machine is so I can buy myself one. And almost invariably then they're reminded that, yes, I haven't really had proper manners. And then usually with an apology the coffee starts to appear. If anybody deliberately refused coffee to an auditor, who after all works on their behalf, it's not like the tax inspection's in, it would be definitely a symbol of a pretty poor attitude, I dare say. Just ran a light, not sure how tolerant they are of that in Austria, but nevertheless. Immofinanz, that's a well-known Austrian name. You're getting a bit of the old Viennese architecture here, aren't you? Der Zeit ihrer Kunst, der Kunst ihrer Freiheit. Ja, ich kann Österreichisch überhaupt nicht sprechen.